Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. If I did it right.
Hey, babe, can you? Oh, there we go. Okay. I was
Oh,
like, wait, see me?
can you see where's my face like cut off?
I can see you perfectly.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're joining from TikTok, thank you so much for jumping on. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have my beautiful friend on here. She actually is also in the manifestation community. She has her own YouTube page. And something that is really cool that she does is she debunks a lot of myths around manifestation. But before we get started, let you introduce yourself and share a little bit with us about what you do.
So I am basically a manifestation YouTube page. I am Unseen Divinity on YouTube. So this is kind of really fun because not a lot of people have actually seen me physically because I tend to do very lecture-based type of content, really trying to like educate the masses on how to use law of assumption to really like hack your best life, to use it in your favor, to bring in the wealth, the money, the love, whatever it is that you may be out there seeking, that it's there for you all with the power of your mind. I've been studying law of assumption for years and I finally like pulled the plug and decided to make a YouTube page and really just educate people about what it is and how to use it. And it's been like a really incredible journey. I started coaching a little while back, probably around the same time you joined TikTok, which is awesome. And after a certain point of time, my followers were like, you have to make a different social media platform. So I made a TikTok and I found you and I was like, I gotta collab with this girl because she teaches like the exact same way that I do. And I'm like, this is a match made in heaven in that sense.
I love that. And I'm so glad we did connect on there. And you mentioned so many cool things to me, which we'll go over later. But I really love that you're in the YouTube world and that you have your own following base there. All like platforms work so
Yeah.
differently. Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
podcast, YouTube. But I'm glad we're getting to do this on here
Yeah.
and even collab more in the future because we are
Yeah.
really in the same world.
Yeah, I'm really excited, honestly. Like, I love to like meet other coaches, network with other coaches because I feel like I don't know, we just need like more education out there for certain people. And especially the content creators like yourself, like myself, that are teaching law of assumption in that limitless way. Like, like you can really have do be anything you want. Like, that's what I think we need more of.
Seriously, no, I agree. I feel like it's taking off the cap and taking off the limit of what the possibilities are.
Yeah.
Uh, everyone realizes when they're entering this world is your limit is yourself, and the beliefs that you place upon yourself is really what holds you back from so much greatness. And I'm sure you've been in that place too. I know I really put a cap on my own growth for so many years because I just didn't realize what I was capable of and what every single human being is truly capable of by using these laws.
For sure. I mean, for me, I kind of got into law of assumption from law of attraction. So,
Yeah.
needless to say, I had a little bit of trust issues when coming into law of assumption because I was like trying to tune my frequency and stuff like that before. And I was like, oh no, I hope this is not one of those like gimmicky techniques that's just going to like sell me something. And I used to be the biggest skeptic. And I would have never thought if you would have asked me like a year ago that I'd be on YouTube coaching people. No,
Yeah.
no way.
I agree. I remember, I think the first teacher I heard of was Neville Goddard. I remember I came across his book, Power of Awareness, and then I kind of got into his work and Joseph Murphy's work, and I was like a whole new world because I came from like the Abraham Hicks world of law of
Yeah, I know
attraction.
you said that a few times. And you're also a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love his books. I've read like pretty much all of them. They're amazing. They're incredible. I feel like people get in touch with like different I guess you can say gurus, almost like the people that used to teach it like a while back, and they kind of have a little bit of trust issues, with it. And so it's like I really want that more like condensed, easy to digest type of law of assumption content out there, because I feel like, and maybe you feel this on your page, some people are just confused. Like sometimes they're confused about which one is which. They're confused about whether they have to do this like mountain of shadow work, and they have to heal their inner child, and they have to do all these profound things, and I'm like, girl, no, back, it's not what it needs to be.
And I agree with you 100%. It's crazy because like people will look at therapy and like, things where we're digging into the past to heal ourselves. And I commend all that work. It is tough to do the shadow work. But what I'm realizing is all you really need to do is identify where you are now so that we can take a massive leap to move forward, rather than digging up all the pain and understanding why the pain happened, where it came from, where we messed up, where other people messed up, why they treat us so poorly. And
Yeah.
what we just do is pick up a brand new chapter. Like every day is a clean slate. We start a brand new slate, just like Dr. Joe Dispenza said. He's like, every single day you have the opportunity to lose your old version of yourself, your old mind, and create the brand new version of you to manifest literally anything that you want, which is such a beautiful and powerful thing to know.
Honestly, it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I go on coaching calls with clients and stuff like that, I feel like when I walk them through certain things of like how Dr. Joe Dispenza says that, I actually take my clients through like an exercise, what I call like the rebirth exercise, because they can't really conceptualize that clean slate type of situation. So I try to break it down for them a little bit, and I'm like, okay, how about this? Like, because as a teacher, as a coach, as someone who creates content, you need to be able to present it in a way where your audience can digest it. So I have found like 100 different ways to explain the exact same thing, because that's pretty much what our job is to begin with. So what I'll do is like I'll tell them, I'm like, listen, how about this? Why don't you try to conceptualize being reborn right here and right now? So if you like try to go into your body and you try to like relax and center yourself, and let's say that today on this date at 7:20 p.m. right now, you have been reborn as a new person with all the knowledge of manifestation that you have, you get an opportunity to do a complete do-over. Who would you be without your old story? 100% without your old story. Who would you be? And it's just like stone cold silence, because they're like, oh, like that's what it is. And it's like, yeah, because who would you be without your old story? Nothing. You wouldn't be anything without your old story, but it's from the nothing in which it's a blank slate to create everything. And you realize your attachment to the old is what has been holding you back from living your best life, because it's the hurt that we hold on to, it's the pain that we hold on to, it's the rejection or the feeling not good enough that we hold on to, and we almost want to like stitch it into our side and make it part of our identity. But I'm like, what would happen if you were just reborn here and now? This is the first moment of your new life. How differently would you write up your story? How differently would you hack things to be in your favor? And that is like a pretty profound way to think of things, but that's essentially what we're doing.
Right.
That clicks with them in some type of deep way, and they're like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, I love that. And I always say, we are so free that we choose bondage. We are so free to pick any version of our reality and of our identity, that we continue to pick trauma and bondage to our problems and our past. And if we just shed that skin of, I no longer identify with the pain, with the heartbreak, with the poverty,
Yeah.
with toxicity, with the childhood trauma, I no longer associate with poor health issues. If you can shed that skin and pretty much like resurrect yourself in a new mind, in a new version of yourself, a brand new identity, a new self concept. You are now free. You are free to choose any version out of the quantum field, because as we all know, like Dr. Joe Dispenza always mentions, is you, there's infinite versions of you, and there are infinite realities happening all in the present moment. He calls it the eternal now, the generous present moment. And in this now, you can claim to be any version of you.
Yeah.
So powerful, because I don't want to claim poverty. I don't want to claim being overweight anymore. I don't want to claim the heartbreak and that I always get used. I'm tired of claiming those parts of me, and I'm ready to shed that skin and claim the wealthy, healthy, beautiful, intelligent, loved version of me that can have it all, honestly. And when people grasp that, they're like, you know what? I am free. I don't need to identify with my mistakes. I don't need to identify with who I was yesterday or 20 minutes ago. But people seek validation from external forces. And they're like, well, my friends are going to judge me. My family's going to judge me. People are going to be like, who do you think you are? And I'm like, babe, who cares?
Yeah, like, and even if you play it in your mind, you don't have to wear it as a walking billboard. If you're feeling self-conscious about it, everything comes from the mind. Because if you continue to stay married to the thoughts, the assumptions that you're creating, you create the new neural pathways. Is it going to be uncomfortable for a minute or two? Yeah, because you know what? People have, in some instances, years or decades of unfavorable programming. Like, listen, I'm all for us being limitless creatures that can just quantum jump overnight. But for some people who need a little bit more of a mindful approach, it's almost like you have to baby step them a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people ask me, like, why do some people get such fast results and other people take time? And I tell them, I'm like, babe, people come from different races, from different religions, from different social conditioning, from different socioeconomic standings, from different backgrounds, from different traumas, from different walks of life, different places on the earth. They've experienced different things. They have different trust issues. Some issues come from, parents being there and maybe not being like teaching them the best of things because they didn't know any better. Some people have traumas because their parents were absent. People come from so many different walks of life with so many different backgrounds, so many different, like I said, race, religion, socioeconomic standing. And some people are just able to come into the law of assumption with that mature mindset of, I'm not where I want to be right now. What's the harm in fiercely believing that I can do this? I see all these people having success. They almost treat it like a science experiment. Like, I know that you know one of my success stories that came from your workshop. But yeah, you guys have to get Flora's workshop. It's in her TikTok bio. But as a coach, I always pride myself in educating myself more and more. And part of that comes from also absorbing content from other coaches. And I purchased her workshop as well. And I think we can all learn and grow no matter what stage of the game we are in. We are all like, learning to get to that best next level version of ourselves. And one of my fastest client success stories came from the gentleman who cured his cancer. Like, he had like three. It's crazy to me.
When I read that, I had tears in my eyes. I'm like, there's no way this is true. Like, that happened so fast.
It happened in less than a week. I literally have the testimonials in my bio now because I was floored. I was completely floored. And the beauty of how he got the results so fast, he had all these like really dark circumstances. Like, doctors told him he didn't have many months to live. He had a life-threatening blood clot also in his leg that was not allowing him to work, making him stay on bed rest. He had other like reproductive issues going on in his life. And he was just ready to upgrade himself to the 2.0 version. And he took what I said, he took the affirmations, he took my little game plan, and he went to town on it. Like, he went to town on it, and he was just so open-minded as if it was a science experiment. Like, okay, what's going to happen if I just like really believe in this and I just really go all in? And he got 5 days of results. He went back to his doctor, and the doctor said he's cancer free, and the life threatening blood clot is no longer life threatening, and that he can go back to work. Pardon? Excuse me?
Excuse me? I feel like I'm listening to a Dr. Joe Dispenza testimony right in front of me. Do you guys, like those of you guys that are listening to this call, and those of you that are in the future, listen to the power of this. In 1 week, a cancer patient healed themselves mentally. So if the body, if you guys notice that the brain is the placebo.
Yeah.
So the brain is the placebo, and you can direct the subconscious mind with any command, and it will take the command if you persist, right? It will get impressed into the subconscious, and the subconscious is your faithful servant. It wants to serve you correct. It wants to prove you right. That's why you were gifted this divine gift. This is the divine conscious creator living inside of you. And if you want to wake it up and do the things that you want and receive the blessings, just like we're mentioning on this call, you need to give it the correct direction, right? You want to go towards the desire and stop thinking of the lack of the desire, the not having it. Because the more you focus on the 3D of the not having it, the more you are expanding not having it. You're expanding your separation from it.
And I mean, I love to basically use that as like a stepping stool for when I try to explain manifestation to people. I tell people it's like being in a room in the middle of the room and it's blackout lights. Like the lights have gone off, you have a flashlight in your hand and you try to shine the light on different things in the room to see like where you are. Is there any sign? Is there this? Is there that? Where you place your attention on, that's where your energy grows and that's where you continue to create. And in some people who unfortunately, and it's no fault to theirs, just didn't know any better for too long, they continued to feed into a negative feedback loop and they could only see that direction. They could only see that trauma. They could only see being abandoned, being hurt, having to work super hard for money and never having enough, feeling anxiety when they check their bank account, and so many other things. Now this like whole law of assumption community is all about just like redirecting your focus like to what you actually want, because if you focused there and you manifested things like poverty, you manifested things like money leaving your bank account just as quickly as it came in, bills coming up, never having enough, being left, being ghosted in relationships, well then that's kind of a perfect manifestation and you can almost feel comfort in that. So you know, if that those assumptions equaled this, then if you shift your gaze and you're like, okay, I deserve to be loved, I deserve to be cared for, I deserve to be pampered, I deserve to be shown an amazing time, I am commitment material, I'm the definition of commitment material because of how I present as such an amazing, awe-inspiring woman. Imagine the type of results you'll get from that. Like the equation still checks out the same. The math still maths just fine, but you just weren't placing it in the right area.
Yeah, it's rearranging the thought pattern.
Yeah.
So we have these cycles, almost like a hamster wheel of the same habitual thought pattern. We wake up, we're like, oh, there goes my back pain. Here goes the shitty day I'm about to experience because I have to go into work. I'm going to be stuck in traffic. I'm already late. I have to wake up the kids. I hate my life. I have to check my email. My boss is yelling at me. My spouse is treating me poorly. My house is a mess. We wake up with this loop, right, in our like a hamster wheel. And if we don't break that loop, if we don't intersect the loop with a new thought pattern that we are technically forcing upon it, right? We have to consciously create the new thought pattern. The I am worthy, that I have the perfect life, I get everything that I want, I'm always treated with kindness and respect, I am loved because I love me, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, I'm stunning, I'm kind, I'm always adored by everyone that I meet. If we don't intersect the daily loop with these new habitual thought patterns, then for the rest of your life as you age, you will be in the same loop. And what is the point of life then? What is the point of waking up if we're constantly stuck in the same day over and over and over until we're 90 years old? I don't want to live that life. I'm sure everyone listening doesn't want to live with the same circumstances and issues, because we're here for our fullest expansion. We are here for growth. We are here to live out our massive desires, as crazy as they all sound. We we have them placed on our heart for a reason. So if you guys can start to intercept these cycles of thought with a brand new thought pattern and make it a habitual thing with manifestation practices, self-talk method, affirmations, visualizations, all these different things, you guys are going to have brand new outcomes because you're picking a new reality with your conscious thought pattern.
And I mean, that's like obviously exactly what we teach, you know, and that's exactly what we try to preach. And some people are like, it's difficult for me to like live in my mind because I'm living in my 3D. And I try to tell people and I try to console them. I'm like, listen, the old version of your SP, if that's like your topic of desire, technically, in my opinion, when someone comes to me with an SP situation, I'm like, you're still manifesting new love. Because unless he came in the exact ideal version, you've never even met the person that you're trying to get in touch with. He
Wow,
lives
yeah.
in a different quantum reality. And when I say that to them, they kind of take a step back. They're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, like I would love for you. And I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, I want you to like do a scripting exercise. And I'm not the biggest fan of scripting, but when I got super clear on things, that's when things started to pick up like crazy. And I will go through like a little worksheet with them and I'm like, who is your person? Like the ideal version, because whether it's new love or whether it's an old SP, unless he came in on a horse and carriage, you actually haven't met him yet.
Yeah.
You don't know him yet. And so the more energy that you place on that, and sometimes women or men see it as, then I have to be a doormat. And I'm like, no, you don't. You absolutely don't, but they don't want to let go of that person or block them or unfollow them or stop messaging them. So I'm like, something has to give here because at the end of the day, the more you reinforce that route, the more it's going to be shown to you. I said, what's the harm in establishing your worth as a high value woman or a high value man? The reason that you're scared and you feel that panic, you feel that anxiety, you feel that discomfort in your stomach of not being able to lay down boundaries is because you're used to one of a few different thought patterns. I'm not good enough. I'm not wanted. I'm not seen. I'm not chosen. I'm not commitment material to men and or women depending on your preference. And that has repeatedly caused you to get into grasping energy. And when you're in grasping energy, you can affirm until you're blue in the face and nothing's going to happen because that's not coming from having your desire. That anxiety, that pit in the stomach, I always tell people, I'm like, listen, you'll know a technique lands for you in the right place when you feel like, ooh, like that's good. Like that feels good. I feel like at peace. I feel like this is doable. I believe this is possible for me. I know that this could be a possibility for me rather than, oh my God, they're not doing what I want. Oh my God, I need to text them. I need to give them an ultimatum. I need to tell them it's me or nothing at all. It's like, where is that coming from? It's coming from, I don't have what I want. Let me act out so that way I can play this pattern out because it's what my brain is used to. But it's like if you don't make yourself uncomfortable, at least temporarily, think about it. Would you also want to be with someone that doesn't have proper boundaries for themselves?
Right. You lose your magnetism when you
Yeah.
are constantly seeking and trying to manipulate the 3D around you and constantly in panic, and you're creating all this resistance to your goal, which is to have the unconditional love with your person and having them show up in that calm, loving manner towards you. And if you're always seeking for what's wrong with me, there's something wrong with me, like you said, I'm not chosen, I'm not worthy, and if this is the loop that you're constantly stuck in, it doesn't matter what man you meet tomorrow or 10 years down the line, they're going to treat you the same exact way as all of your past relationships. So look at the patterns in your life. What do they say about you? Because every time something smacks you in the face, it's just trying to show you who you are. So it's kind of like a wake-up call. Every time you get hurt, this is a reflection of me. I need to change something. And I cannot change the person. It doesn't work like that. I have to change self. I must do the self concept identity transformation work so that people can reflect the love back to me that I now give myself, and people can reflect the respect and the commitment back to me because I respect myself and I'm committed to myself. And if we don't start with that foundation, like you said, you can affirm the new story until you are like, you have no more air in your lungs.
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
It's really not. And that's kind of the concept that some people think that can happen, because they think that, like, the reflection in the mirror is going to raise its hand before you do. And
Right.
it's no, you have to raise your hand to see that reflection. And that small delay in time gap comes from when your new neural pathways are being created and the bridge of incidents is allowed to unfold the way that it needs to. And for some people, you just can't get around self-concept, because especially if you're going after things like love or money, where a lot of people want and desire and have a lot of unfulfillment in, maybe is the correct word, just the lack of completion in their life in those areas. A lot of the times you want that is because it has escaped you or traumatized you in pretty deep ways. So even if you have examples of good love stories, you probably only hang on to the negative parts of it, the parts of it of like why it fell apart, why he left, or maybe you chose to leave, but you did so because he didn't give you any other choice. He was disrespecting you so poorly. So still comes back to self-concept. But of course, we can't manifest with self-concept alone, because sometimes you can have the highest of high self-concept, but maybe you're after someone that's on a pedestal. You can also affirm till you're blue in the face with that as well. But if you think that that person's a player, that person would never commit to me, like they said they don't want marriage, they don't want kids. So you know what? My idea and my fantasy of marriage and kids with this person is not going to happen.
Right.
It's always the same formula. And I made a video about this a little while ago. It's kind of funny how we branched into this topic. I said, you want to know the whole secret to manifesting anything in your life? I said, it's a formula. It's a math equation, because my medical background needs to turn something into an equation. So I was like, it's an equation. I was like, you want to know how the equation goes for instant manifestation? I said, it's your assumptions of yourself, i.e., your self concept, plus your assumptions on the object of your desire equals instant manifestation. Because when those are in line, you don't even need to believe the affirmations or the meditating or whatever it is you're doing. Things will move for you.
Yeah.
You'll get your own proof. You'll build your own confidence. You'll build your own self esteem in this.
And that's how powerful belief is, the power of belief. Like you said, if you believe in that assumption, it's going to it's going to have no choice but to physically show itself.
And imagine if you stitch that into your side instead of the toxic story you did before. Before, you had a parasite in you killing you. And nobody's shaming you for that and nobody's blaming you. But the thing is, we want better for you. Like, we want you to also be out here living your best life, like glowing out of just like so much radiance because you're so fulfilled.
Yes, yes. And I like to like kind of put puzzles together from all different teachers, and a lot of biblical scripture also outlines manifestation. So when we hear the biblical term of pray as if your prayer has been answered, it
Yeah.
is the same thing that law of assumption is preaching. It's also the same thing as law of attraction in a way.
Yeah.
You believe that your desire is already yours in the present moment. You pray for it as if you've already received the prayer. You're assuming it in the now, in the generous present moment, as one with you. It's not a separate goal. It is embedded into your identity. When we embed it into our identity, we are officially in embodiment. So if we're embodying the desire, I am wealthy, I am loved unconditionally, I have the desired relationship, I don't need to seek for anything external, then guess what happens? Everything moves. And it's quick.
And it does move really, really quick. And that's like the purpose of it. Like, that's the purpose of identity work and self-concept work. You're changing your identity. Like, that's the best way to put it. It's like because the way that you presented for the majority of your life, unbeknownst to you, was just not in your favor. So once again, you have a perfect manifestation. You've always been a master manifester. And sometimes people don't believe that. They're like, oh yeah, look at my life. I'm like, listen, babe, at the end of the day, there's no need to have a pity party about it. Let's just hack it in your favor.
Yeah.
Because if you thought these thoughts again and again, and you just thought, like, love just doesn't work out for me, I'm just always going to have to work this 9 to 5, and you manifested that perfectly, what would happen if you actually told yourself something favorable? And I love to take it back to things like either scripture or even just back to science, because some people think, like, maybe they come from a background of it's a bunch of hogwash, like this isn't real, you can't really change that. Yeah, like that type of situation. And I'm like, even if you go back to basic experiments where you speak into water, I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but like they'll chant certain words to certain like glasses or molecules of water, like hatred, love, peace, harmony, and they put it under a microscope and they actually saw the geometry, like the molecular structure of the water
Yeah.
change depending on what it was told. We've even seen it in science experiments with plants, where one plant is showered with compliments, the other one is showered with insults. And if something that doesn't even have a brain, like a fully functioning conscious brain, is deteriorating or dying in front of you because it's being said negative things, imagine the types of reactions it's having in your body as a conscious, present human.
Yes. And it's literally wreaking havoc on your cells and your organs, because our physical health is nothing more than an extension of our emotional well-being. So anyone like your friend who is suffering from cancer, and other people who carry a lot of excess weight, excess baggage, they have organ failure or hypothyroidism,
Yeah.
IBS, cancer, all these different things, they are extensions of your emotional well-being. So if we fix the internal identity, if we fix the internal problem, which is a lack of the self-love, the self-worth, the high as fuck identity, right? The one that has it all. And if we take away the lack consciousness, you will essentially heal all these things on their own, without the chemotherapy, without the radiation, without the extensive harm that a lot of, and I don't like to get into like medical terms, because I've been scrutinized for it before.
But it's okay.
And but it really is, everything is an extension of your emotional well-being. Everything, your relationships, your money, and your health, all of it.
And not only that, but even to take it a step further, one of my other like recent clients, she texted me last evening, her like baby daughter, she's like very developing. I don't remember her age, maybe like 7 or 8, like in very primary type of school, suffered from lead poisoning because the building in which they were living was painted with some lead paint. And
Wow.
the fumes ended up getting into her room, like the baby's room specifically, and kind of stunted her developmental growth, where the mother observed like the daughter seemed to almost be trapped in her own body. And she used to cry all day, all night to witness that I can't even help my kid. I don't know how to do it. So I would give her some affirmations, and I'm all about like the affirmation game, even though scripting works so fast for me. I just love to
It's
I
really the same. It's the same focus work.
exactly. And some people, I always say, like, they're like, which technique works the best? I'm like, problem solve it. Try it out for yourself, because that's the way you're going to know. Some people can really get a clear, crystal clear image in their head and manifest in 5 minutes. Other people, they're like, they come from a writing background maybe, or that just resonates with them, or it feels more powerful. But I would give her some affirmations, because I'm all about the affirmation game. And I'd be like, hey, why don't you try something like, this doesn't exist in her reality. Like, it cannot happen. It's impossible for her blood to have any traces of lead poisoning. And I like to use very extreme affirmations, if you will. So I tend to do things like embedding words like impossible, cannot exist, will not exist, and just,
So
yeah, Yeah, so powerful because it doesn't even give a 0.0001% chance of that reflecting. And that's what I did with my cancer patient also. I said, I want you to tell yourself, as far out there as it seems, throw science to the wind, even though I studied it for 9 years. And I want you to tell yourself it doesn't exist in my reality. And guess what? She got an award for being the most progressed in her class. And she's going to the doctors pretty soon. And I know they're going to tell her that what lead poisoning? There's no lead poisoning in your baby.
Nothing.
There
I love
must.
that. That's so insanely powerful. And you guys, everything she's saying is a command, right? You are the operant power in your reality, so you give command. You can command anything, and you have dominion over everything because this is your reality, and you get to express yourself in your highest form. So if you make the command, like she's saying, this is impossible. I am in perfect health. My organs are functioning at the highest, most optimal level. I am my own healer. I am always in perfect balance. My cells are so intelligent that they're always in the perfect optimal version of themselves. Your body is listening. It's like, oh, bet, done. Okay, let me act on it. Right? Because you're no longer claiming your illness. You're no longer claiming your problem. You're no longer claiming your lack or your deficiency. And through your claims, through your dominant belief in the claim also, your subconscious will carry it out. It doesn't have a choice.
And I know that you do have to go, but I want to expand on like one more prop on that because it's like such a great point. And honestly, once again, like a video I made recently on my page, like people's association with what that is, like whatever's not going right. So I made a video on it where I literally made like a visual animated tutorial type video of people like literally taking the feelings that are not serving them, or the sickness that's not serving them, or the false identity that's not serving them. And I made a beautiful depiction of it where it's like your ability to feel trapped by that is you reaching out and saying, I am this, like associating yourself with it. Because I said there's a difference between feeling abandoned and saying, like, hi, I am abandonment. Like you're taking it and you're like putting it into your chest and making it like, this is who I am.
You're claiming it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you keep getting in these patterns. And is it a little bit of a pain or a little bit uncomfortable? Yeah. In the very beginning, I don't know about you, but I came from a lot of healing work. Like that's how it was brought to me when
Yeah.
found it. And I thought I had to heal so many things, and I had to like, burn different letters and like write these letters to the universe and stuff like that. And I had to heal all these things. But I realized like I have so much more power than I thought. Like genuinely so much more power, because when I said like this is not me, like this is not my identity, and I kind of like would release those negative emotions, that abandonment, that fear, that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, and I almost like physically would push it away in my mind, and I was like, no, I don't identify with you anymore. Like this is a different version of me. Things changed, like things literally, I could feel like energetic releases of what had been so many years of identifying a certain way and just changing it into something else. And in those instances, that would be some of my quickest manifestations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the embodiment, the claiming, the being one with,
Yeah.
it's the command that you give. And through this power, like guys, we have divine abilities. We have gifts, and you have been robbed of them through poor education or lack of the proper education, I would say. And when you receive this type of information, maybe it sounds too good to be true, but I want you guys to play with it. Play
Yeah.
with your power, test it out. Go manifest a free meal, right? Or manifest a certain sentence from a friend that you already normally talk to that you have no resistance with.
Yeah.
You're going to start seeing the more that you play with these things, the power has always been yours. There are no external forces that be. It is your world that you have dominion over. And when you step into this very powerful role, it's not to be cocky, it is to have the most confidence and power over yourself. It is to master yourself. I don't have to react to that. I don't need to get upset at this. I don't need to spiral over this. I don't need to cause panic over this situation. I'm in control.
Yeah.
You're experience contrast, good and bad. Everything has a yin and yang, darkness and light. That's the point of our physical experience, is to choose what we want, right? So there has to be contrast. But when you're constantly experiencing the things you don't want, you have the choice. I can claim this thing that I want, and it is mine, and I have it now, and I'm one with it. And it will be carried out. It will physically come into your existence, and you will bear the fruit of your commands, because that is law. That is spiritual law. And guys, like, you have it all. You have the love inside. You have the money and the abundance inside. You have the perfect health inside. There's nothing external that you need to really seek. So when you guys get your hands on this education, run with it. Run with the changes and play around with your own ability. It's fucking fun. Like, I don't know about you, but I have fun with my manifestations. So, like, I can do this because I know I can do it. I wonder how quickly it's going to come to me.
Yeah. No, for sure it is. And that's like the fun of it. Because if you honestly, if you're true to yourself, and a lot of people that come into this, they're on their own spiritual journey. So you know they're at least open-minded to it in a sense. Because if you think about where we all came from it, a lot of the times we came from it when we weren't in the best place. I feel like that's how a lot of people found it. And like, in that instance, if you really try to sit down with yourself and be the self-reflective growth mindset individual that you identify as being, you can probably trace all your money beliefs back to certain assumptions.
Yeah.
All your love and, romance situations back to certain assumptions. How you got raises or lack thereof in your career back to certain assumptions. And it's like, that's the power. Like, now, like this mentalism is just not like some type of facade or some type of hogwash. Like, it's something you can actually use to better your life. And I don't know about you, but I'm obsessed with being more, doing more, growing more, excelling more, succeeding more in all areas. I'm the type of woman that I'm like, I'm open to criticism because I want to be my best self.
Yes.
What's the point
Expansion is really the point of being.
of
The
it?
point is to expand. It is to constantly grow and to constantly be a student and always learn and, test out your own abilities and play with your power. And really, we're supposed to like be living in pleasure, not
Yeah.
struggle. We're not like, struggle wasn't really meant for us.
It genuinely wasn't. And that's like the biggest thing that we bought into. Maybe that was because of media. Maybe that was because of social conditioning. Maybe that was because of where we grew up in the world. Like I said, race, religion, background, everything plays a part. What we're told as kids, a lot of kids that were told, like, I can have, do, and be anything that I want, don't associate with struggle later on in life. No matter how big they choose to make their dream of being an astronaut, being a neurosurgeon, being anything, they don't really associate with that. They're like, no, I can have, do, and be anything that I want. That's also a form of manifestation right there, even if they weren't conscious of it.
And I normally work with women, and I tell them, when you're manifesting, you need to have the audacity of a man, because
Yeah.
men are raised to believe you will become the president, you can become the CEO, you can have it all, the mansions and the cars and the luxury and the travel, you can own it all. Women were not necessarily brought up with these ideologies, with these embedded self-belief thought patterns, right? I
Yeah,
wasn't.
I was.
I have great parents who were like, you can do more, you can do more. But the majority of women, so every time I work with women, which is like 99% of my clientele, I'm like, I need you to look at yourself and be like, I have the audacity of a white man in America,
Yeah.
because I have all the privilege now. I can have it all. I can be all of it right now in this moment. I'm with all the baggage my parents put on me, society put on me, teachers put on me, media put on me, that told me that women are going to be diminished and lesser than. No. You're actually like the most powerful being that exists. Sorry to break it to you, but all of that is bullshit. It was put there for a reason too, to control you. So when you can let go of these systems that were never even your own, these are not even your own beliefs,
They're
right?
not. Honestly, put into your head. And because you didn't know any better, once again, this is my identity. Okay, I can only shoot this high. I can only be a housewife, or I can only be a teacher. I can only, strive for this level income, or I can't really like develop myself in a creative field. Like, no, you can. And we want to empower you that you can. Like, you literally can. Like, the success stories you have seen, the success stories I have seen, like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm humbled by my clients. I'm like,
so humbled. They have accomplished things I can only wish I have put my mind at this point. They have accomplished things beyond barriers that I've never come across. And I'm like, wow, all you needed was the right education.
yeah.
That's
And
all I didn't give you a magic pill, you know?
exactly. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, it's not a magic pill. And that's why on my page, I just preach so much of education. I'm like, because I want to make you independent. I'm not the type of content creator that's trying to make you dependent on me so I can make money or do anything like that. I say it boldly on my website. The goal of coaching is for a luxury for some who want to get custom help for their situation, but it's to educate you. And education is first and foremost in coaching, because when you know better, you do better. And the goal is to make you independent so that you don't need me anymore.
Exactly. And it's to give the power back into the hands of the people that, we've all unfortunately been robbed of, but now we have access to all of this, and we don't need to turn a blind eye anymore. Because I know so many people hear this information, they're like, wow, this sounds interesting, but no. But the fact that it got your interest, there's a reason for that. Your heart, it's like, wait. That's the real me. This
Yeah.
is calling me in. This is who I am. When you peel back all the layers and all the disbelief and all the limiting self-imposed beliefs that everybody has put on top of me, that's the real me. It's that powerful me, and I see it in you when you speak on camera. But I'm shying away from this because it's scary. It's too much. It sounds too good to be true. So I'm gonna scroll past it, but your heart's being tugged by this information. I know when I heard it, I was like, wait a minute. What did you just say? Like, I don't have to deal with all this?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I'm all in now.
Yeah.
Let me eat it out.
Up.
Hours like digesting all this content, and I was mind blown. And I'm like, okay, if they can have it all, I can have it all. It took me years to master, but still, it was so worth it.
No, it's so worth it. And when you educate yourself to the level of being a coach and being able to like just hear someone's story and be like, okay, I know what you have going on, and just like dissect it right there on the spot. Like, even in my coaching, I always go to and refer to my medical background, and I'm like, okay, we're going to do like a diagnosis. Like, that's what I call it. Because that's kind of like literally what it is. It's just identifying those root beliefs so that we can seal the hole in this sinking ship of whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, or just chuck the ship and get a whole new one at this point.
That's my favorite way to do it. Burn the whole thing down and get a new one.
Exactly. Because some people, I'll be honest, not all of them have really harsh, difficult backgrounds. Some of them are just like, they need that girl to girl pep talk, or they need a guide. They need somebody to tell them. Like, some of my clients are, I have some men also, a decent amount, I would say, honestly, probably a little bit more of a percentage than what you have. And in that instance, I try to break down for them how to also embody that high value male type of situation, because some of these men have been hurt or backstabbed or cheated on by certain women. And I'm like, listen, bro, like, I feel your pain in a sense, but we're gonna fix all that, you know what I mean? And honestly, I'm so sorry, because like, we're just gonna keep talking if we don't keep.
No, oh my God, it's 8 o'clock. I have to go.
No, it's okay. We have to go, because otherwise we're gonna keep going back and forth just out of love for the conversation. But honestly, I'm going to let, Flora go. I'm going to go myself. But for those of you who are part of her, people that came over from TikTok, doesn't matter how many showed up, all 23 of you. We appreciate you coming in over here and just joining us. And go follow her. Go get her manifestation workshop guide. If you want to come see me on YouTube, feel free to do so. And I hope that we do get an opportunity to collab again. And my page lets me allow myself into your TikTok live. I don't know what threshold I need to reach, but I'm like so pumped and I'm like discouraged, but don't worry, we'll definitely do it, hopefully.
And you guys, I know I always tell everyone I do not have one-on-one coaching available right now. My wait list is until August. So go to her, you guys. She has the same information, the same knowledge. If you want one-on-one private coaching, please reach out to her. Go follow her. Check out her YouTube channel because it's the same information. It is the same information, the same knowledge. So thank you so much for doing this with me, babe. And we'll be back on here together very soon. I know it.
We have to. All right, girl. Have a beautiful rest of your day. You guys do as well. And yeah, we're going to see you guys in the next one.
Yes. Bye, guys. Have a good night.